Hey guys, Outdoor Prepper, I want to welcome you back to the channel. I've got a beautiful day out here today and I think it's a good time to do an oil change. I have not seen any videos online about an oil change on the Harbor Freight Predator 5000 inverter. This inverter so far has been great. I've got 6 hours on it of runtime. Oh, the wind just knocked the funnel over. 6 hours of runtime, which was just breaking it in. And now I just want to do an oil change, get some fresh oil in there. We'll take a look at the oil that came out, and then this will be good to pack away and have on standby for hurricane season. So really all you need for the oil change is a funnel, the oil, and someplace to collect the used oil. I have the propane tank out here because you really want to start the generator up, let it warm up just for a little bit to thin out the oil and let most of it drain out. So obviously this runs on gasoline or propane. I prefer propane to keep the carburetor clean. So let's do this in real time. Let's hook it up. We're going to start it. This has been sitting now for about a month. So let's see how easy it is to start. We're going to let it run for about 5 minutes, warm up that oil, and then I'm going to reposition the generator over here, right over here, because it's going to make it raised off the ground so I can have the oil drain quite easily. Another thing that I bought that actually might be useful as well is I bought a little, like a moving dolly with 4 wheels that I could put the generator on to just elevate it to get a little more room for the oil to flow. So let's get the camera on a tripod, let's get this hooked up to the propane, and let's just start it up, let it run for 5 minutes, and then we'll come right back. Okay, it's a nice warm day today, so I just moved the generator over to where I would like it to be for the oil change. So now I'm just going to go grab the regulator, I'm going to hook it up to the generator, and I'm going to hook it up to the tank, and we're just going to try to start it up, and let's let it run for 5 minutes. So here we go. Regulator. It's coming on the tank. That's nice and tight. Quick disconnect on the hose. That's pretty solid. It's going to turn the tank on. Now this is sat for a while, obviously, so I think it's probably going to take more than one start. And actually somebody told me on one of the videos that I watched that when you press the start button and it attempts to start, if it does not start, it's going to retry. I don't know if that's the case, so let's see what happens. So it's purging the air from the line. Let's see if it kicks off again. If it doesn't, I'll have to press it, but like I said, somebody said it will. Does not appear to be. So I think that review that I read was incorrect. All right, I guess let's press it 2 more times. Let it try again. It started up pretty easily. Very impressed. Very impressed. I'm going to go ahead and take it off eco mode. I want it to kind of run at full throttle just to warm up. Oh, I'm sorry, it was off eco. I put it on eco. That's how quiet it was. So I took it off. Oh, I'm sorry, I left it off eco. This is running at full throttle. So let's just let it run for a minute or so here, 5 minutes, let it warm up. What I'm going to do right now is I've got an old windshield washer bottle that I'm just going to kind of cut in half. And I do this from time to time. And I just make a little drain pan for it. And I'm going to pour the oil into the bottom part of the bottle, and then I've got another washer fluid bottle that we'll use to just pour the old oil in, and then I can take it for recycling. So I'm going to come out here in front of the camera just so you can see what I'm doing, and this has really worked well for me for years. So this is the bottle, and I'm just going to cut it kind of right here and use the bottom half as a drain pan, basically. These generators do not use a lot of oil, so this is more than sufficient to collect the oil. In fact, I think, I could be wrong, but I think that this takes 0.64 quarts of oil. So it's not even a full quart. So let's just let's keep cutting this. Hopefully I will not cut my arm off, but if I do, we will turn this video into a first aid video. All right. So this is really all we're going to need to collect the oil. It's probably going to fill it close to the top, but that's okay. And then I've got another bottle, a full one, or a new one that is not cut in half, that we'll use to pour the waste oil in. So once this runs and warms up and I take this door off, there's going to be a little slide for the oil to drain out, and I'm just going to collect it right in there and then recycle it. So let's come back in a couple minutes. We've been running for 3 minutes. Let's just let this run a little more. Once it's nice and warmed up, we'll come back and change the oil. All right, we're back. This has been running now for a little over 5 minutes. I think it's sufficiently warmed up. So what I'm going to do is turn it off, disconnect the regulator and the hose from the tank. I'm going to put the tank away, and then we're going to take the side cover off. We'll zoom in, and I'll show you exactly what we're going to do here. It should be pretty easy. So let's turn it off right now. And it's best to turn it off from the tank. So by turning it off from the tank, we're going to purge out the propane in the line. It's going to die very quickly. Let's disconnect it. Let's turn the power off. Let's disconnect the line. Disconnect the regulator from the tank. Let's put the weather cap back on it. I'm going to go ahead and put the tank away, get it out of the sun here. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to pull the camera in close, and we're going to take the side panel off. That way we can see where the oil drain is. Now I have not obviously changed the oil on this generator before, but I've changed the oil on hundreds of generators, so this is going to be no different. All right, so I'm going to come right back as I just repositioned the camera a little bit closer. Okay, as I was repositioning the camera, I realized I had the generator turned to the wrong side, and the one telltale way you can determine which is the correct side for the oil change, aside from the label obviously, is this piece right here. This piece right here kind of slides out, and it allows you access to the drain, or the little slide, I guess, I don't know what the best terminology is, where the oil will slide out of. So hopefully you guys can see this. I'm just going to loosen this cover. And the best way to loosen these is just loosen it until you feel the screw kind of just kick back, because, oh, see that? That sound, that basically means this is unscrewed all the way. And the reason I say that is there's 4 tabs in here that with some pressure are held in, so you've really got to pull this door off, and you want to make sure obviously that the screws are undone. It is getting really toasty out here. So if we could see on the camera, there are 2 oil caps, I guess you can call it. This one right here, the gray one, is for the fill, and the yellow one is for the drain. And like I said before, the way you can immediately tell aside from reading the label is this little piece right here, because what this is this is going to just come right out. I'm going to tuck that out of the way, because it's going to let the oil just drain right from here, drain right out. And the reason I staged the generator here where I did is, you know, this is a sufficient distance down. Could you do this on the ground? Probably, yeah, but I want to be able to tilt the generator just a little bit and get a little more oil coming out of there. So let me do this. I'm going to get a shop rag because we may spill a little oil, and I would prefer to not make this a travesty of a mess. So let's get the shop rag out here, so that way when I do make a mess, it will be a little less. Fortunately, I keep a healthy supply of shop rags. You know what I'm also going to do? I'm also going to have a little cardboard box here. I'm just going to kind of cut a piece of the box to just position under there. Because like I said, I have not changed the oil in this specific generator before, so I'm a little unfamiliar with how much oil is going to obviously flow out of it. I don't anticipate very much, but you know, you never know. All right, so I've got my shop rags, and I've got my piece of cardboard. I think you guys can see this sufficiently well. Let's maybe pull the camera in just a little bit more, just so you can kind of see exactly what is going on here. And you can also see the mess in real time if it should occur. So what I did right here is I just cut a little piece of cardboard, and then I've got all my trusty shop rags here. So between the cardboard that's cut and the shop rags, I think we should be okay. So I'm going to loosen this just to allow a little air in. And again, this is the fill. It's also the dipstick. So you have to check the dipstick without it screwed all the way in. So by pulling it out here, I can see it. It might be really hard to see this on camera because the oil is still very new. It's only got 6 hours, but this is full. So there's an L down here for low, an H up here for high. So that's good. We're just going to leave that kind of loose. And now I'm just going to loosen this bottom one, and I guess let's raise my little ghetto catch pan just a little bit higher. I gotta be honest, this piece is a little annoying. I know why it's there, but I don't really appreciate the black tab. It makes it difficult to position it so it doesn't fall into the oil. All right. So that's out of the way. I gotta be honest, this is making a little bit of a mess. Again, I understand why Harbor Freight did what they did with that little pull tab and this little funnel, I guess, or not funnel, but drain slide, but I really don't like it. It's actually quite messy. Oh God, we're having a massacre over here. This is not good. This is not good at all. Let's try to tilt the generator a little bit. Like I said, nothing here is staged. You can see in real time what a mess we're making here. Let me go get another pair of gloves. This is not going to end well, I could already see. I kind of prefer engines that are not in these enclosed cases. You can just undo the little bolt, drain your oil right out, and then put the bolt right back in, and it is much, much, much cleaner. Where is this actually dripping from? So this is dripping everywhere. This is a mess. I can see what's happening is the oil is spilling off that little spillway, and then it's going under the generator, and then it's hitting the cardboard, and it's flowing back out. This is a disaster. Oh my gosh. Let's try to lean this a little bit. Absolute disaster. You're watching it live as it's happening. Very, gotta be honest, you're very unhappy. Harbor Freight, I like your generator. This oil change drain is a total nightmare. So for those of you watching at home, let this be a lesson. Definitely put a piece of cardboard and or a tarp or something else to collect this utter disaster of an oil change. You know what? I'm going to go and get a box to throw this oil-soaked cardboard in, so I don't make more of a super fun cleanup site here. You know, at this point, it's almost better just to let this massacre continue. The more I touch it, I think the worse I'm going to make it. Well, while it's draining and we're making a mess, let's come over here and just take a look in the oil pan. It's a bright sunny day out here, so it's unfortunately going to be a little hard to see, but I could see a little sheen in the oil, which is obviously metallic, and it's because the generator is brand new, and little bits of metal are gonna, wear as the parts kind of seat themselves, the piston and the rings. So that's to be expected, and that's also why you want to change the oil after your initial break-in. This oil is pretty dark for 6 hours of runtime. But again, that's okay. I'm glad we're changing it. Coming back in here, you can see it has really slowed up. So I think what I'm going to do is put the drain cap back on there, take my shop towel and kind of clean that up. Then we're going to have to pull this oil-soaked cardboard out, which, by the way, I'm really glad. What is going on there? I'm really glad we used it, but I'm really unhappy with this oil change. Just taking a look in there to see if oil spilled inside anywhere, and it does not appear to have spilled inside, but I'm really unhappy with the way it's flowing out here. So what's happening is the oil is draining out of this, and then it looks like it's draining this way. It's leaning against the generator because this is sloped. It should actually just be cut off, but it's sloped inward. So the oil is flowing in under the unit, and then it's falling down and coming this way. That's a poor design, Harbor Freight. Poor design. All right, so let's do this. Let's give it one more tilt, see if anything else of any significance comes out. Otherwise, if it doesn't, I'm going to put the drain cap back on. Oh, we are getting a little bit more out. And again, that's why I wanted to elevate this. It would make it a little bit easier for me to tilt it. Sorry that my arm is in the way. All right, I think we've got the bulk of the oil out here. So let's take the drain plug. And obviously the drain plug is nice, it just screws right in. Just gonna make sure it's nice and clean. The O-ring looks nice and good. And we're gonna go ahead and put that back in. And again, this little flap, again, I understand the purpose of it, but it's very much in the way. They should not have a little line to connect it. It should just totally come out. Oops. I don't really want to let go of it because I don't want it to fall against all the oil. But it's rather precarious. Okay, that's all nice and tight. Let's just clean that up. Just going to take the shop rag and kind of clean this up a little bit in here. Wipe up any of that oil. So that was, in terms of the replacing of the cap and cleaning the little slide here, a little drain, that wasn't bad. And that's back on. Now, where it's a mess is, like I said, under there. So let's position this box that I've got here. Let me move this back a little bit so you can kind of see what's going on. So this, I'm just going to pick this up, and you can see the oil was dripping from under the generator, which again kind of annoys me because this was not a good design in my opinion. So I'm trying to clean under the generator. And let's do this. I'm just going to look inside. Inside looks very clean. I don't really see any oil inside, which is good. So I'm just going to put the fill cap on for a second, because what I want to do is I want to tilt the generator back so we can take a look underneath it together and see what it looks like if there's a lot of oil. And hopefully we can pick this up on the camera. So let's just reposition the camera a little bit. And I'm just going to tilt it back. And we're going to look under it and see, we're going to see what we got. So, not too bad. The oil was dripping this way and kind of over here, and that's what was causing it to make such a mess. All right. Hopefully the worst part is over. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video for a second because I want to take this waste oil right here and I'm just going to use a funnel. I'm just going to pour it in a empty washer fluid bottle so I can recycle it. Then we're going to come back with same funnel. We're going to measure out what I believe is 0.64 ounces. We're going to fill it up. We'll check the level, and then we should be good to go. So let's come right back. Okay, we're over here at the manual just to show you. If we look here on the left side, the engine oil capacity is 0.64 quarts. So 0.64 quarts minus 1 quart, which is a standard bottle, converted to milliliters means that we should have 346 milliliters left in the bottle after we pour in 0.64 quarts. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to pour this oil in until we're at about 350 or so milliliters left, and then I'm going to stop and check it. And by looking at the manual here, this shows you, like most generators, you want to fill it until the oil is at the bottom, or I'm sorry, the top of the threads. So if you look at this picture very carefully, that's at the top of the threads. And then or the top of the bottom thread, I should say. And then you check it with the dipstick, placed in, but not screwed in. So let's go ahead and do that. I obviously have created a gigantic mess already. So let's walk over here and I'll just show you. I've tried to clean it up a little bit. I'll show you what I've done. So basically what I've done so far over here is I tried to clean up the Superfund site, but it's not working very well. So I'm gonna have to put a little soap in the garden hose. In here we're nice and clean. So I just put a shop rag so that way when I start pouring in the oil and I pull the funnel out, it doesn't drip all over the inside. But we want the oil to come up, looks like almost to the top of the threads, or maybe halfway to the top of the threads. So I'm going to go ahead and put on a pair of gloves, and I'm going to start pouring until we reach approximately 350 milliliters left, and then I will check it. Let me do that, and we'll come right back. All right, so the generator has been refilled with oil. It was checked. Obviously, this is not a Champion generator. This is a Harbor Freight. But I did buy a Champion cover, which quite honestly fits it perfectly. So, apologies, forgive me, I did not film the filling part, but it went very uneventful. All cleaned up, all put away, and I will come back next time when we have a power outage, and we'll film this together, starting it up and hooking it up to the transfer switch. Thanks for watching. If you could like and subscribe, I would appreciate it.